Buckle yourselves in, baby. We have Mr. Glenti in the studio here on the segment this week, Mr. Nick Poniris.
Opa!
Opa!
Thanks for having us.
Hey guys, welcome to the segment. Very excited. I've got a good mate, Mr. Nick Poniris. He's very active in the community. He is Mr. Greek Glenti. I mean, he won't say that, but to me he is. He's a good mate. He's a great businessman in the town, very well respected. And all I can say, I'm really looking forward to this chat.
Chris, it's pleased to meet you. How are you? It's good seeing you again.
Good to see you, mate. So look, this is all about the show. It was very successful last year, just talking to guys in the community, business and community. And you're very lucky, Nick, because you play in both. You've got a very successful business and you're very well recognised for helping out in the community. But let's talk about United Scaffold. That's your business.
It is indeed.
How's it going?
It's going not too bad. We're all right.
You all right?
We float, we move, we duck, we weave, we do everything.
How did you go through COVID? How did you go through that?
Look, it was a balancing act, but I guess it's like everything else. Like I say to everybody that asks me questions, if you're not out there chasing it, you've got no chance of getting it.
Yep. So United Scaffold, what are the other products in United Scaffold? Is it just traditionally scaffold?
Whilst we're primarily a scaffolding company, we provide safety solutions and working platforms and the like. Flow-ons is temp fencing, aluminium scaffolding, roof edge protection, and anything that we can make out of steel to give somebody a safe working platform.
Got it. So ordinarily the people that you're going to be working alongside, building companies are going to call you. Who's your main client?
Our clients are a combination of government through utilities, water, sewer, electrical, organisations, multi-level buildings, school buildings, warehousing, retailing, all that sort of stuff. We do some sort of unique solutions also. We do a little work we do some work in Western Australia, in Connemara. We do some work north of Queensland. So we're not just focused in the NT.
Something I know, Nick, that you're very passionate about as a business owner, safety. And safety's an easy word to get thrown around these days.
It is. Well, we've done some work and, we've built some stages and we've over-capitalised and built on these stages to make sure they carry weight loads and structures, as you're aware. We're cautious. I want to sleep at night. And I want to wake up in the morning knowing that I've had a good night's sleep because I know whatever we've built is built to suit and to last the job.
Correct. Let me ask you this. Safety is something that gets thrown around. You mentioned to me earlier that you thought up here in the Northern Territory we actually had stricter safety requirements. Is that correct?
Correct. My observations are, and I travel quite a bit, I'm from the cities originally and I still travel down frequently. My observations on the building sites and people that have come and worked with us throughout the years is that what we do in terms of safety preparations and our WorkSafe people inspecting us, and NT WorkSafe do a great job. We are much more regulated and much stricter up here in terms of what our requirements are compared to down south. And I think it's a testament to the amount of no injuries we have compared to the incidents that happen down south. And we're quite fortunate that we also are consciously aware of what we have to do as opposed to rushing to a timeline. Timelines will always be achieved. You can always do it in a controlled manner as well. So there's no point taking any risk by fast-tracking your job. It's not about fast-tracking your job, it's about getting a job done properly the first time. If you get that sorted out, we'll always be safe. So we're quite well, and we're regulated quite well, so we got no complaints when it comes to that component. Yep.
Let me ask you this. So you've got a long history in the town. So I understand your wife's granddad, 1920s, history.
1927.
Yeah, long history.
It is indeed. He was the first Kalinian to come and settle in Darwin, Pedro Mahalo. And he moved up in 1927, left in 31, came back again in 33 with his entire family. He already bought himself properties here and built the house. Yep. And he actually started the first phase of the Kalinian migration to Darwin in the 1940s.
So he's responsible.
He is responsible.
Bloody Kalinians.
That's exactly right. And then you had the migration wave of the 1950s from the federal government at the time. So my wife's family has got a long history in the Northern Territory.
So let me talk about I guess the other side of Nick, which is heavily involved in supporting community. I guess you've been around the Greek Glenti, and I know that you would say that there's a great team that has built that over the years, which is true.
Absolutely.
Right now, you're right at the top. You're the president. Is the Greek Glenti all going ahead this coming year? Because it was cancelled last year.
Well, it was put on hold.
Sort of put on hold.
It was put on hold.
It's going ahead this year?
Oh, come on.
It is.
I've got to make an official announcement sooner or later, but I can't be here. I'm sorry.
Oh, geez. I thought I was dropping you right in. It was
you
perfect.
did try to, but not quite yet.
maybe Ray Martin is going to lose his job.
We'll run an announcement in due course.
Okay, very well done. Politics too, mate, absolutely. So tell me about the Greek Glenti. Obviously, it's one of the highlights, on our event calendar in the dry season.
Is.
What are the challenges on putting on an event that size? Because 35,000 people turn up to that. What's the challenges?
The challenge is to put a good product on that's going to maintain your audience base for more than an hour. So the important thing is putting a product in place that's going to captivate, maintain and interest your audience for a period of more than 6 hours. Right now, we've already gauged our timeline is 6 hours to captivate an audience. We now want to grow it.
So you bank on having people there for 6 hours?
And we do.
Wow.
It's all part of the entertainment program we put forward. So ultimately, our goal is to maximize the opportunity that we have with our audience base. Yeah. But we also need to keep them entertained. Yeah. We need to give them something to fill in some of the gaps in between what's going on, all the various activities we have on. Yeah. And more importantly, we want to be better than the last year. Yeah. In order to be better than the last year, we've got to learn from our history. To research and develop and ensure that what we can filter, and as I say, I don't like saying we don't like reinventing the wheel. We just want to smoothen it and make it easy to turn.
So where does Nick, tell me this, obviously there's a deep drive in you to support community, okay? That's more than just a throwaway comment. I mean, you live, you breathe it. Okay, where does that come from? Is that
I think we're born into that from my parents. They were always community.
But not everyone's born with it.
No, but my parents are always born into that environment. They've come from an environment where they helped and support wherever they could, through poverties of, through the years of Greece and through the Second World War and the like. So, and they've sort of come out here, and we were born into this thing. We didn't sort of choose it. And we don't find it as an effort either. I don't see it as an effort, quite honestly. It does impact on time, but I don't see it as an effort. I don't think twice about it, that's for sure. So I think it's just we're born into it.
Yeah, I must say the years of working behind the scenes that I have two silvers now. I'm growing my doing
it right. You need to have one good one.
I'm growing my own stash of Thrimbie, mate. So it's got into the genes, mate. You come round to my place,
going at your place
for an Aussie rissoles full of Thrimbie.
You must be the only skip that I know has got one, because nobody's got Thrimbie outside of the Calimnians. It's a uniquely Calimnian product.
I know. I do enjoy it, though. I've got a couple of stashes in jars in the fridge, and a couple of the Aussies have opened up and they've thought, what's this? It does look a little bit...
It looks a bit suspicious,
doesn't it? It does look a bit suspicious.
And it smells suspicious too.
So, mate, tell me, I really enjoyed talking to business, particularly in the context of being in the Northern Territory. It is really, put it this way, it's unique with its challenges up here because we are remote. And
it is indeed.
I was listening to a gentleman, obviously extremely qualified guy yesterday, talking, but to me his advice is outside the context of being in the Northern Territory. What advice would you give, Nick, to people wanting to get into, particularly the construction industry that is highly competitive at the moment? It's highly competitive. What advice would you give to people?
Well, there's a few things, but I guess what I could say on a serious note is just research. Research what you want to be doing. See if it's got relevance. And if it does have relevance, how can you deliver what it is that's relevant at an affordable price point to whoever you're going to be your target market. Yep. And then don't be shy, and be prepared to get out and do the hard work. Because don't rely on anybody to do it for you, because the vision you have, nobody else has. Yeah. And once you can deliver your own vision and you can see an end to your vision, then slowly you can start engaging others to come along that journey of yours. But until you can do it yourself, don't expect anybody to do it for you.
Yeah. So you're saying just make sure you've got the skills to be, when everyone else goes to bed, you've got to keep driving the ship at night to deliver.
Correct.
Yeah. Mate, for you, obviously you employ a lot of people.
I do.
And these days it's pretty easy to put a glossy resume together.
It is indeed.
Pretty easy.
It is
What
indeed.
would Chris O'Brien, I know this is what would I have to do to meet the benchmark to get a job with Nick Poniris?
First of all, you can't look like Chris O'Brien to start off with.
All right, okay.
Let's take that out of the picture. And then
What are you looking for?
visually somebody that thinks they can work, I can look through them and think myself, I can't see that happening.
Okay, you look through and you
And then a few Q&As.
okay.
Simple Q&As about the job.
Okay, yep.
And if the answer, and because one of the things I've always been instilling in my team is that I would never ask anybody to do something that I'm not prepared to do myself.
Yeah.
So if I can't do it, I don't expect anybody else to do it either. Yeah. And more importantly, because I actually am hands-on and I work in all aspects of my business, when I throw questions out at somebody's looking for a job and they don't have an answer that I expect to come out of them, it tells me that they're fumbling their way through it. And the resume looks good.
So in other words, there's no chance of me getting a job. Hey, tell me this: is it a rumor? Is it a rumor that Greek dads give their daughters a house when they get married? Is that a rumor? Is that tradition?
I think it's a rumor when somebody else picks up that rumor and continues with it. More importantly.
I got 3 daughters. I hope it's a rumor.
Well, I would expect you to have 3 homes for them. with windows, with doors, with a roof, with bathrooms and with furniture. And sometimes preferably a bank account that they can support the son-in-law.
You're funny. No, there'll be no son-in-laws in my family till they're 60. 10 fast questions. It's been great hanging with you, mate. 10 fast questions for you.
Before you start asking questions, can you make it true or false?
True or false? Okay, close. Where's your favourite place to have a Greek meal?
In Athens.
In Athens?
In Athens,
It has
Greece.
to be the Northern Territory.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Actually, you don't have many choices now.
I've got 3 choices and they're all fantastic.
Okay, good, very good. Okay, let me change it. Where's your favourite place to have an Aussie meal? Where's your favourite place to have a beer?
At the Glenti. At the Glenti.
You are more a politician than you realise, I'm telling you. What's the best excuse you ever had for someone that needed a day off? Someone's called up and said, oh, I'm sick. What's the best excuse you ever had?
Boss, I'm sick. And I'm like, okay, what'd you do last night? I went out drinking. Okay, you get the day off then.
Favourite soccer team?
There is none.
Oh, you are such a politician.
There is none.
Favourite charity to work for?
Give me 5 for kids.
Okay, yeah, good, okay. Favourite place to visit in the NT?
Gee, there's numerous places. Seriously, there is. There's not one favourite so far. Litchfield, Mataranka, Daly Waters, everywhere.
Yeah. I think I know your answer. Favourite dry season event?
Glenti.
Okay, yeah, I know. Favourite Greek dessert?
All of them.
Okay, here, you have to give me an answer. Who's easy to employ, men or women?
They both give me a hard time.
All right, okay. Why are Greeks the toughest negotiators in the world?
Because they never want to give away anything, but they want to take it.
It's true. Hey, listen, I've always enjoyed, your company the last 10 years, mate. You are a great inspiration. Jokes aside, what you do in the community is outstanding. But I was just going to say, is there one moment that you can look at, Nick, and say, as a businessman or a community member, I'm very proud of my contribution? Is there one thing that stands out in sort of Nick's career?
I guess there is in the NT. And I guess the important one is back in 2011. The NT in 2009 lobbied the Greek Association down south, they called the Pan-Hellenic Association, to host a Pan-Hellenic Games, which is Greek youth from around the country participating in various sports, like a mini Olympics, like an Arafura Games, but for the Greeks around the country. So we lobbied in 2009 in Melbourne. We were successful to host the 2011 Games. And we hosted the games without any funding from Greece. That's when they hit their crisis throughout Europe. So the funding went out the door. So the NT had to fund it themselves, which was quite difficult. So that being the case, and I was in charge of that project at the time, we being myself, decided that the NT was going to own this event and we're going to have no input from anybody but ourselves.
As in fund the whole thing yourself?
Well, we had to fund it ourselves anyway, but we had no contribution we didn't ask for contribution into how to run the event.
Yeah.
We decided to make it a cultural event as well as a sporting event. So we had sporting activities during the day. We had cultural activities during the night. So we went from a 1.5 day event to a 4-day event. It was 4 nights and 5 days. And whilst it made some money for the community, historically these events made no money, left the people in debt, even with the subsidies they got. We were told by a lot of the locals here in Darwin, especially the ones interstate, that you couldn't run a combined cultural and athletic event. Well, we did. It's to this day, 2011 this was, to this day, people are still talking around the country, the ones that participated in the Darwin one, and the Canberra one straight after that, and the 2 before us, saying, when are you going to host another Paralympic Games? So that stands out because that was something that was unique. It was something that we decided to build from scratch, and we engaged the people that we really needed to engage locally, but drew on the experience of running specific events, not to run the whole program. The program was mine. So ultimately, the feedback to this day, 10 years after the event, people are still talking about the Darwin 2011 Paralympic Games.
No, good. Pretty proud. I can see you're pretty. It's good,
I am
mate.
indeed.
Very proud. Well, listen, you heard it first here. The announcement that wasn't an announcement about the Glenti. So we're standing by for an announcement. But listen, mate, you're a great mate to the community up here. We really appreciate everything you do. And for anyone wanting a scaffolding job, mate, the bar's pretty high. But listen,
they can't beat an old man. They can't beat anybody.
All the best.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Nick.
I'm still waiting for that person you introduced earlier. I'm sure he's going to come out somewhere.